Good evening. Angry protesters hit the streets in cities across the country as the incoming Donald Trump administration is poised to erase 8 years of progress in the LGBT community, providing emotional support to people facing the trauma of having a loved one die. Janet Childs with the Center for Living with Dying discusses this program that serves children, adolescents, and adults who are dealing with grief and loss. The latest developments in HIV medical information. Dr. Michael Harber from Merck & Company has more details. And Crystal Haney and Tree Din from the HIV Outreach Prevention and Education Program discusses HIV testing on this December 2016 edition of Outlook Video.
Okay, 5, 4, 3.
Good evening and welcome to Outlook Video, your nationally recognized award-winning news magazine for the LGBT community. I'm Christine Conkle.
And I'm Johnny Zick.
Last month's presidential election came as a shock to everyone in the LGBT community. The defeat of Hillary Clinton by Donald Trump at the polls has made everyone, especially millennials, distraught, disheartened, and disillusioned. Protests immediately erupted in cities nationwide. Outlook Video was at the protest in the Castro district in San Francisco, and we'll have more details later in the half hour.
But first, Roberta Gonzalez-Gregg will talk with the Center for Living with Dying program at the Bill Wilson Center. Janet has been on the program regularly with sage advice and comforting thoughts on how to cope with the process of mourning.
Merck & Company Executive Director of Infectious Diseases, Dr. Michael Harber, returns to the program to talk with Tom Smith, and they will discuss the latest in prevention and treatment for AIDS and HIV.
Harber had his own private medical practice and was at Stanford Medical Center in HIV treatment. He's our go-to doctor for HIV medical knowledge.
And Crystal Haney from the HIV Outreach, Prevention, and Education Program talks to us about HIV prevention. But first, Janet Childs of the Center for Living with Dying.
Janet Childs from the Living with Dying program of the Bill Wilson Center in Santa Clara has returned to Outlook Video to remind us how we can care for ourselves, our family, friends, and community during critical times in our lives. Welcome once again, Janet.
It's an honor to be here.
Oh, it's a pleasure having you here as well, especially during this season, this holiday season, when people get a little down. But losing a loved one is difficult, and even in the best of times, best being when we have a sense of expecting a pending loss due to a long illness or something. But critical times, that's even more difficult. Can you tell us, please, there are 4 steps that your center offers and some tips that you can offer our viewers.
Absolutely. One of the things that's most difficult about a sudden loss or a sudden trauma is we're not expecting it, so we can't prepare for it. So first we go through an incredible period of shock and numbness and disbelief. And it may take a while for us to begin to acknowledge it, and that's our first step. Once we acknowledge the loss or grief, it gives it room to be able to express. Because what happens is we live in a society that doesn't give us much permission to grieve.
Sure.
And especially during the holiday season, it's very rough because you're reminded, you have all kinds of sensory triggers and memory triggers that hit us. And so if you can acknowledge, I am grieving, and it is going to be difficult during the holidays, and I need to express the details of what's hitting me the hardest.
So you would suggest that people find someone that they can speak to about this, or come to the Bill Wilson Center, for instance, where there's many programs, yes?
Absolutely. And one of the things that we can do at the Bill Wilson Center is give you individual support, or you can be a part of a group. We just completed our Grief in the Holidays workshop, which was amazing. A whole group of people getting together and sharing ideas for survival during the holidays. And then our incredible Light of Lights candle lighting service. And the candle lighting service gives us a chance to join together in community, to move from out of control to in control, and from out of isolation and into community. And those are the two factors that make stress and grief a little bit easier to deal with.
I'm glad you said isolation, because you talked about, earlier off camera, we were talking about reconnecting.
Yes.
And so I think that's a main concern. We're told so much, oh, you know, you'll just get over it. I like to think, having had some recent losses, I like to think that it's not something you get over, but at best you get through. Tell us a little bit about what the center has in tips for us for those kind of situations.
Well, you said it very well. I think what we have to do, Roberta, is create a space where we can acknowledge and express the details of our pain. Then we can move into an action step. And the action step actually enables us to begin to make some meaning out of the pain. Now, it doesn't mean we're taking away the pain. The pain will always be there for a lifetime. But by making meaning of the pain, what happens is we transform it into healing and into creating a deeper and better self as we move forward into our life. And reconnecting is about the fact that even though we've had this horrendous thing happen in our life, and you know, we're very sad or very upset about it, we can reconnect to what is still good. We can reconnect to what is still sweet. We can reconnect to the love that never dies, and we can reconnect to each other. And that's one of the reasons that one of my clients, who said it very well, she said, you know, Janet, my heart's like a hotel, and everybody I love has a room in that heart hotel. And when they die or go away, no one takes their room. But I can fill that room with love and memories.
Oh, what a sweet thought.
Isn't it amazing?
That
And that's
is.
acknowledging, expressing, acting, and reconnecting.
Yes.
Because we fill those empty rooms with love and memories. Well, we can do that for and with each other when we acknowledge each other's losses and we share memories. And we acknowledge, you know, this is hard, and especially during the holidays. And how can we help each other and help ourselves during the holidays? By preparing. In other words, don't just dread the holidays. Let's work out a plan to get through the holidays that gives you the meaning and sweetness, but takes away some of that pain and that dread of facing it.
Well, having, as I said before, having a recent loss, the father of my daughter recently passed, and that was very difficult to confront with my daughter. For me, I was dreading it because she is developmentally disabled, and I had received from you this lovely light from the Light of Lights of last year.
Yes.
Last year's celebration.
Yes.
And I had it with me, and I've keep it with me. And I remembered, what I'm going to do is bring this to my daughter. She lives in a group home with like-type individuals, and I'm going to bring this with us, and we'll go find a nice quiet place. We had a very nice park nearby where she lives, and we had a very nice celebration of our own. I wanted her to understand the passing of her father, that the love was there for her still, and that it would never go away. So we looked at photos. She touched each photo as we looked at it, and I could see the connection there. It's reconnecting.
Yes.
That was it.
Yes.
She was reconnecting with the love of her father, and so was I. It was really a very touching thing to do. From what you had given me, you gave me the tools.
And you know what's amazing about that, Roberta, is for all of our listeners that are hearing this story, it will inspire them to do a similar story that has meaning for them, and how simple the components of it were. You brought a candle, a special candle, you shared photographs, and your daughter was able to break through whatever she might be differently abled with and connect with her dad.
So thank you for joining Outlook Video and giving us permission to our own well-being, to think of ourselves and our own well-being, and as well as our loved ones. For more information about the Center for Living with Dying at the Bill Wilson Center, you may contact them at 3490 The Alameda, Santa Clara 95050, or you can call them at 408-243-0222, or email them at bwcmail@billwilsoncenter.org. Also, the upcoming Light of Lights events this December 14th shall be at the Church of the Valley, 400 North Winchester Boulevard, Santa Clara. Their phone number is 408-279-2512. Thanks again, Janet, for this
Thank
wonderful
you.
information.
It's an honor to be here.